Imagine if every word you spoke wasn't just communication, but a force shaping your confidence, success, and even how others perceive you. You might think speech is just a way to express thoughts, but what if it's doing something much bigger, silently shaping your identity, influencing your self-perception, and determining your place in the world? Think about it. Have you ever met someone whose words commanded instant respect? Someone who didn't just speak, but made others stop and listen? And then there are those who struggle to be taken seriously, whose voices fade into the background. The difference isn't just vocabulary or intelligence, it's how they use their voice. But here's the truth. Your speech doesn't just reflect who you are, it actively shapes who you become, influencing both your self-perception and how others see you. Every phrase you say, every habit you repeat, is programming your brain to either strengthen or weaken your self-image. And here's the most important part. The way you communicate doesn't just shape your own mind. It silently dictates how others perceive your intelligence, authority, and worth. So ask yourself, are you speaking in a way that empowers you? Or are you unknowingly weakening yourself every time you open your mouth? The way you speak isn't just a reflection of your thoughts, it's actively shaping them. Most people assume that language simply describes what's already in their minds, but research shows that the words you use aren't just describing your thoughts, they're reinforcing them, shaping your mindset, emotions, and even your potential. Every phrase you repeat is reinforcing a belief. Tell yourself you're bad at something and you cement that identity. Shift your words and you start shifting your mind. This is why the words you use daily matter. Studies on linguistic relativity suggest that the language we use can expand or limit our thinking. Some cultures don't even have words for certain emotions, which means they literally experience reality differently. And it's not just about confidence. Speech influences problem-solving, resilience, and intelligence. Someone who frames difficulties as problems will feel overwhelmed, while someone who calls them challenges is training their brain to see solutions instead of obstacles. The bottom line, your language isn't just a habit, it's a form of mental conditioning. If you want to change the way you think, start by changing the way you speak. The way you speak feels natural, but it didn't come from you. From the moment you were born, your speech was shaped by forces beyond your control. Your culture, upbringing, social environment, and even the media you consume. Without realizing it, you've absorbed speech habits from your surroundings, yet few ever stop to ask if those habits are truly their own. But if you never question these influences, you might be speaking in a way that limits you without realizing it. Different cultures shape speech in radically different ways, not just in vocabulary, but in how confidence and authority are expressed. Western societies encourage directness and self-assertion. Eastern cultures value indirectness, reading between the lines and avoiding confrontation. Neither is better or worse, but they fundamentally change how people perceive dominance, intelligence, and trustworthiness. Ever noticed how certain speech patterns are associated with power and authority, while others are dismissed? A controlled, polished tone is often linked to leadership. A casual, slang-heavy style is associated with authenticity, but not always credibility. Even accents can influence how people judge intelligence and competence, often unfairly. Studies show that people make snap judgments about competence based on speech alone, before they even consider the message itself. Social media and short-form content are conditioning people to think and speak in fragments rather than full articulated thoughts. Emojis and GIFs have replaced deeper verbal expression. Autocorrect and voice-to-text technology are weakening vocabulary and articulation skills. And here's the unsettling part. Speech trends are now being dictated by algorithms, subtly shaping the way people communicate without them realizing it. The reality is this: if you don't consciously take control of your speech, you're not really speaking freely. You're just repeating the programming. Every time you speak, you reveal more than you realize. You might think words carry the most weight, but in reality, It's your delivery that reveals the truth about you. Without realizing it, your speech constantly signals your confidence, intelligence, and emotional state. And people pick up on these cues, often subconsciously. Speaking too fast can make you sound nervous or uncertain. Speaking too slowly can make you seem unsure or disengaged. Pausing deliberately creates authority and demands attention. The way you control your voice can completely change how others perceive you, even if you're saying the exact same words. Overusing filler words like like, and you know, weakens impact. Turning statements into questions, I think this might work, undermines confidence, even when you're right. Strong communicators eliminate hesitation and speak with clarity and intention. Your vocabulary reflects more than just personality. It shapes how others interact with you. Frequent I and me statements can indicate introspection, but also self-focus. Speaking in we and us terms signals leadership and a collaborative mindset. A rich vocabulary creates an impression of intelligence and influence. And here's the most important part. Your speech doesn't just affect how others see you, it affects how you see yourself. If you constantly use hesitant, negative, or passive language, you're reinforcing those traits in your mind. But if you shift toward confident, intentional speech, you train your brain to embody those traits. The way you speak doesn't just show who you are, it influences who you become. The question is it shaping you into who you want to be? If the way you speak is shaping your reality, then changing it can reshape your future. Most people assume their speech habits are fixed, but the truth is, you can train yourself to communicate with more confidence, clarity, and authority. Small adjustments in how you speak can dramatically impact how people perceive you and how you perceive yourself. 1. Replace weak language with assertive language. Many people unknowingly weaken their speech with hesitant phrasing. Instead of, I think this might work, try this will work because. Instead of, maybe we should try let's do this. Instead of, does that make sense? Try let me know if you have any thoughts on this. Confidence isn't asking for permission to be heard. It's assuming you already are. 2. Master your tone and pacing. Some of the most persuasive speakers in history, Martin Luther King Jr., Barack Obama, Steve Jobs, all use deliberate pacing and controlled tone. Slow down to let words land with impact. Use strategic pauses to emphasize ideas. Lower your tone slightly at the end of sentences to sound more authoritative. When you rush, you sound nervous. When you pause, people lean in. 3. Expand your vocabulary for greater influence. A richer vocabulary makes you more persuasive and memorable. Avoid weak, generic words like thing, stuff, or kind of. Replace them with precise, impactful language that leaves an impression. 4. Break free from conditioned speech patterns. Question the speech habits you've absorbed from culture, media, and social circles. Ask yourself, am I speaking the way I want to, or am I just following a script that was given to me? Consciously choose words that reflect who you are becoming, not just who you've been. 5. Speak like the person you want to become. Psychologists have proven that you become what you consistently express. If you want to be confident, speak as if you already are. If you want to be a leader, speak with the authority of one. Your brain is always listening to you. Shape your speech, and you will shape your reality. Your words are not just communication, they are self-programming. The moment you start speaking with more power, the world will start treating you differently, and so will you. So, what if I told you that the way you speak doesn't just reflect who you are, it actually determines who you become? Most people assume that personality shapes speech, but the truth is, speech shapes personality. The words you use, the tone you adopt, and the way you express ideas are all signals, not just to others, but to yourself. Every time you say, I can't, I don't know, or I'm bad at this, you're reinforcing self-doubt. Instead, if you say, "I will figure it out," "I'm learning," or "this will work." You're rewiring your mind to expect confidence and success. Your brain is listening to you. If you speak with hesitation, you reinforce uncertainty. If you speak with authority, you reinforce confidence. If you constantly downplay your abilities, your mind will believe you're incapable. If you frame challenges as opportunities, your brain will adapt to see possibilities instead of obstacles. This isn't just theory, it's neuroscience. The language you use strengthens neural pathways, making certain thoughts and behaviors more automatic over time. Leaders, visionaries, and powerful thinkers throughout history understood this. They spoke not just to communicate, but to create. Your voice is more powerful than you realize. It doesn't just describe your world, it builds it. It doesn't just reflect your confidence, it generates it. The way you speak is either a tool for growth or a trap that holds you back. Now ask yourself, what story is your speech telling? Is it a story of hesitation, limitation, and self-doubt? Or is it a story of strength, clarity, and purpose? Because the moment you take control of your voice, you take control of how the world sees you and how you see yourself. Now that you know this, the real question is, how will you use your voice from this moment forward?